Okay. What's going on? LBHT Crew B. What is going on?
I heard the Lakers are about to acquire a top tier point guard.
Uh, not
Not
Dame.
that one. Not that one. But the one who was made homeless by that trade.
Ooh, we're gonna
I
talk
didn't
about it.
actually hear that. I mean, I heard it from myself. So
All right. There's some hot NBA news that we gotta discuss. You see the thumbnail. Damien Lillard is in the thumbnail. He's been traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. We're gonna break that down. Obviously, we're gonna break down. Actually, we didn't do a breakdown of week 2 or
No.
week 3. I was at a Wu-Tang concert, Wu-Tang Nas concert with OTR Mike and OTR. Well, the whole OTR crew, basically. Okay, OTR Brandon, OTR Quan. We all went to the Wu-Tang Nas concert last night. You know what? I'm gonna give you all the details in the overtime show. We're gonna add that to the overtime show. It was a lot of fun. Nas is 50 now. This is crazy. He was out there on stage like he was 25. Man, he had all the energy in the world. Look, rest of Wu-Tang, they showed the age a little bit. It was fun. Like it wasn't like they were out there like struggling, but they went out there in spurts. They're like, okay, we need a break. We'll be back. Nas is like, nah, I'll keep it going. De La Soul was out there too. They were dope. So yeah, we're gonna break all that down. Speaking of Wu-Tang, B, you guys don't know this, but we get a lot of inspiration for how we do our show from Wu-Tang. Okay, what are you laughing at?
So keeping it real.
Keeping it real. What's going on? He said today is a very tough day for Heat Nation. Hey man, yes. They were in the Damien Lillard sweepstakes for a while, and yeah, man, they missed out. So we'll see how they pivot, man. We'll see. Jada6 says Wu-Tang. Yes. Throw it the W. We were doing that last night, man. It was a lot of fun. But yes, we get inspiration from Wu-Tang. At least I'm inspired on how we all move, right? Which is why you always see us plugging certain people, right? Those are people that we work with. In fact, the Road Pod, you see me wearing the Road Pod t-shirt, right? That's our guy Hendo, from the Road Pod. You see us plug them all the time. Sip to Tally, we're there every Monday night. That's when we form like Wu-Tang. Us, Chris is Joking from the Deep Cover Podcast, Hendo, OTR Mike from Open Mic with OTR Mike, it's a bunch of us. So, we all put out dope content. We want to build each other up. And that's why we're always asking you guys to support all of us, because all of us are going to give you the content that you're looking for, and we all work together. So, but yes, what's going on, everybody? Who we got in here? We saw keeping it real. A guy Rico in the house. What's going on, Rico? Thanks for coming through. Suge Knight 323. He gotta tell you that he's first. He says lonely at the top. Thanks for coming through, Suge. We got Jeremy Miller in the house. Says yes. Happy Wednesday. That's right. I ain't even say my words here. It's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hope your week is going well. But if not, hopefully it gets better starting right now. Okay, we are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. All right. So wherever you're watching, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. All right. D Weezy in the house. What's going on, D Weezy? Thanks for coming through. Will G in the house says, "Sup, guys? Bucks just became dangerous. They're already dangerous. You got Giannis. You're gonna be dangerous. But yes, they got more dangerous." Agent E says, "Let's go Bucks." Are you a Bucks fan, Agent E? I've never actually seen a Bucks fan before. Yeah. But you know what, though? Look, in the NBA, your fans are star players. So that's fine. A lot of people like Giannis. I like Giannis, too. What's going on, Rave Kingdom? Thanks for coming through. Speaking of the Road Pod, there's my guy Hendo right there. What's going on, my friend? Marco G's in the house. Says, what's good, fellas? That Lillard, Giannis pick and roll about to be lethal. Facts. Yeah. People are going to be excited about that. Malik B, what's going on, Malik B? Thanks for coming through. Dímelo, que lo que? What's going on, my friend? Thanks for coming through. Xavier Smith says, fellas, good evening. Looking forward to another great show. Indeed. Yolanda B, salute to Yolanda B. Says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Suge is he says this picture behind me offends him. Okay, Ray Lewis standing over or kneeling over Ben Roethlisberger's lifeless body after he takes his soul from him. But he actually loves that picture. Okay. Who was here? Baseball Life's in the house. There's crazy news. Surprise trade didn't get blocked. Okay. We're gonna discuss all of that. You guys are really excited to hear about that. All right. But look, the Ravens did not put their best foot forward thanks to John Harbaugh last week. The Panthers, man, sheesh.
Why does it got to be sheesh for the Panthers? Y'all lost.
Yeah, you're 0-3. Your injuries are stacking up over there. And you're playing.
The injuries are stacking up. Whatever.
Look, you're both 0-3, right?
The Vikings.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe they are.
Somebody's O has got to go. Yeah. So we're going to discuss keys to victories for the Panthers. I think that's a winnable game. I know on paper you look at it and say, I don't know about that, but they're the Vikings. They don't win. Yes, we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss Kaepernick trying to fight his way back into the league. Is it a futile effort? Is it, does he have a chance? We're going to discuss all that. And we got an exciting overtime show for you discussing Deion Sanders. And I'm going to tell you all about the Wu-Tang concert. Okay. If Mikey is here, he can hop on and just discuss it as well. I was there with him. All right. We're going to start the show. But before we start the show, we like to start every week with a Black History fact. And B has a Black History fact for you.
Black History fact. How about the Panthers have a bunch of black players and some black coaches, and you should stop talking bad about them. How about that? Well, it's funny that you say that.
Is Brodny is Spanish.
It's funny that you say that, Shug, because today's fact is actually about a black Latin male who, just because we are in the middle of Hispanic Heritage Month, and I figure and Shug has been asking for a Latin fact of the day, Latin fact for about a year and a half now. So I figured, why not?
So as I was asking for it as well.
So we're talking about Gaspar Yanga. You ever heard of him?
No.
Okay, well, he was born in Mexico in 1545. No date of death, so he might still be kicking around somewhere. We all know. But I'm gonna go ahead and read this. Yanga is actually the name of a place in Veracruz. It was named after him. Yanga led one of colonial Mexico's first successful slave uprisings and would go on to establish one of the America's earliest free black settlements. He was an enslaved worker in the sugarcane plantations of Veracruz, Mexico, and in 1570, along with a group of followers, escaped and fled to the mountainous regions near Cordoba. He established a settlement for former slaves, or palenque. They remained there virtually unmolested by Spanish authorities for nearly 40 years, taking the role. And then Yanga took the role of spiritual and military leader. He structured the agricultural community in an order capacity, allowing its growth and occupation of various locations. In 1609, Spanish authorities sent a well-armed militia to defeat Yanga and his palenque, but were defeated. Yanga's surprise victory over the Spanish heightened the confidence of his warriors and the frustrations in Mexico City. After defeating other Spanish forces sent against, Yanga offered to make peace, but with 11 conditions, the most important being recognition of the freedom of all of the residents. And finally, in 1618, self-rule was granted, and that town or settlement was later called San Lorenzo de los Negros, and also San Lorenzo de Cerralbo. And then in the late 19th century, Yanga was nicknamed or named as a national hero of Mexico, and he was known as El Primer Libertador de las Americas. And then in 1932, the settlement he formed, which I said is located in Veracruz, was renamed as Yanga in his honor.
Salute. We got our guy Chris from the Deep Cover Podcast.
What's up,
salute. He says that's Canelo's uncle. Look it up. Yeah, that's a good Black history fact. Listen, there are a lot of Black people in Mexico. People don't know that, you know. So that was a good one. That was a good one. I like that one. Will G says, Prochet to the Steelers. Why do I feel like this is going to burn us somehow? It's not.
It's not.
Did they actually sign him? I know they worked him out. I'm not sure if they signed him.
No, they haven't signed him, not that I've seen. But no, even if they sign him and even if they start him, it will not burn anyone. No. Except the Steelers.
Yeah. I don't see the Steelers got a lot of talent at that spot there. I don't see him making a team. But if he does, good for him. Good for him. But no, that doesn't hurt us in any way. All right. Let's start with the Ravens. We did a post-game show.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, listen, I think we're going to win the game. I'll start out by saying that. I think we're going to win. I'm just still not happy with what happened last week because we're better than that team. We should have won that game multiple times, and we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot. And yes, you're going to have weeks like that. I understand that. Every team, no matter. I mean, you just saw the Cowboys had that type of game, right? And they looked excellent the first 2 weeks. You had the 49ers almost lose to the Rams, right? Not too long ago. And I mean, look, nobody's gonna be undefeated, you know. Yeah. So that's fine. Like losing a game, not having a great week, having an off week, those happen. The problem I have and B has is that they happen way too often with the Ravens, and you can almost predict when they're going to happen. When it's a lesser competition, Harbaugh does not get them ready to play. Those are the games where you're supposed to go out there and really dominate, work on those things, you know, like perfect your plays and execution and things like that. But they just take the week off and they think they can coast to wins. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But these games are always ugly for us. You know,
yeah.
And I'm just tired of seeing it.
You are. Y'all are ugly.
Yeah, like, you know, at the end of the year, we're going to, you know, we'll probably win a division. But these things are what hurt us when we get to the playoffs, when you have to execute at a high rate, right? You have to pick your game up a little bit more, and we just haven't been used to doing it like that on a consistent basis. That's what frustrates me about this team, and this has always been Harbaugh's team.
Well, and not only that, not only the kind of, you know, not getting up for your games every week and not executing, but they play for, you know, low scoring games and close wins. Like they play too conservatively. And that's also a John Harbaugh thing. And it's you know, it's frustrating, but it's just the way he runs the team. It's the way a lot of older NFL coaches run their teams. They're extremely conservative. And that's why you start to see, you know, because of Sean McVay, you started to see a kind of a youth movement in coaching. And well, not even just Sean McVay, but you started to see more coaches wanting to be more aggressive. But Harbaugh hasn't gotten that message.
Yeah. Let me give a shout out to Shug for the donation. Appreciate that. I'll bring that back up. Salute says, I don't appreciate the Prochet to the Steelers talk. Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Yes, it was Shug's birthday this Saturday. Happy birthday again, Shug. He says, thank you for all the birthday wishes from LBHT crew. Had a great time in Vegas. Still recovering. LBHT crew is one of the best communities. Really appreciate that. Salute. That means a lot because that's what we're trying to build. We're trying to build a strong community here.
And if you don't appreciate the James Prochet to the Steelers talk, then talk to the Steelers about talking to James Prochet.
Yeah, we didn't do that. You know, we didn't do that. There he is, Mr. OTR Mike. Woo Tang. Yes, Mikey, if you want to join us for the overtime show, I'm going to discuss our experience at the concert last night. Nothing but great times there. Great crowd. You know, great energy. It was a lot of fun. I was hurting a little bit when I went to work today. I thought I was gonna be okay, but by lunchtime I was struggling.
AJ, why am I a hater? I haven't even said anything yet.
He's messing with you. That's why he put the LOL.
My God.
He just had to get it out early. Okay.
Ridiculous.
Just Allen, what's going on? Yes, Just Allen says he plays not to lose. Yeah. I just
terrible to watch.
I can't get with coaches like that.
No,
like he got lucky winning the Super Bowl. That's all I gotta say. Like typically, you don't win coaching that way. You can keep your job.
Yeah.
Right. Because you'll win more than you lose, but you're not going to win it all.
And that sounds like a win to Johnny H.
Yes. Yeah. So but getting to this game, the Browns aren't particularly a good team, and Deshaun Watson played better. I think he played much better this past week. The defense is amazing, but man, you want to talk about a team that's still impacted by running backs. Losing Nick Chubb is going to hurt them bad.
Well, it's going to hurt them bad if Deshaun Watson isn't actually back to form. Like he played much better. If he continues playing like that, they'll be fine without Nick Chubb.
Yes.
But that's the first time he's played like that in like 2.5 years. So we'll see. The biggest thing in this game is going to be who is going to block Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith. I saw that Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum were back at practice today, along with Marcus Williams. So that's great. But even if those guys are back, Myles Garrett is not somebody that will be blocked.
Well, listen.
He just refuses.
This is a game. Let me say this. Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum, I don't know if they're 100%. If they're not 100%, don't play them, right? Myles Garrett is somebody that's just you're gonna have to scheme to take play away from him. If he lines up on the left, the play goes to the right. If he lines up on the right, the play goes to the left. Whatever you got to do to scheme him out of it. It's going to be hard because Zadarius Smith is on the other side. It's a challenge, but this is where coaching comes in. You got to figure it out, and also, your defense should be able to neutralize that other side of the ball. Deshaun Watson has not been playing great, right? Our defense has been playing really well. So the defense needs to keep them in the games, and Monken, Harbaugh, they need to figure something out on offense. And I don't want to rush. This is like, we've had conversations about Ryan Stanley's health, but that's the real problem with Ryan Stanley is rushing him back too early.
Yeah.
Right.
They've done it multiple times.
Yeah. So, and I mean, Marcus Williams practicing, I mean, didn't he tear like a...
Yeah, they said that he was going to be out, for an extended period, and this is obviously week 4. So I don't know if he's actually ready to play or if he's just getting back out there and starting that process and he's still going to miss some more time or what. But he was out there practicing.
I don't even want him out there practicing. Just heal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you going out there re-aggravating anything. We'll be fine. Just I want you guys back close to 100% as possible, especially Stanley and Linderbaum, because it's a long season, right? We're only going into week 4. We still have 14 more games. So, if you're not ready for this game, okay, maybe we struggle with the O-line. We will struggle, most likely. That's fine. We should still be able to figure out a way to win the game. And even if you don't, it's not the end of the world. But have your guys in a position to where they can really contribute, because we're going to play them again.
Rogue Paz says he didn't practice. He was just on the other field running around. And my question to you, is there a discernible difference between that and what the rest of y'all do every day out there in practice?
Well, he's on defense. They do practice. You could tell. Offense, they just run around.
But,
especially if you're lineman.
What we're talking about right now is exactly why you can't take weeks off against teams like the Colts, right? Because you look at Baltimore and, we'll see who plays this week, right? But right now, their 2 best offensive linemen have missed the last couple games. They're hurt. Their 2 defensive backs have missed the last couple games. They're hurt. Their best edge rusher, Tyus Bowser, is out. Their best running back, well, their 2 best running backs, actually maybe even 3, depending on where Gus is at. But Dobbins, Hill, and Edwards have all been hurt. And you still should have beat the Colts, right? And you should be sitting at 3-0 right now. Mm-hmm. And then a loss to Cleveland's not as big a deal. But instead, didn't take that game seriously enough, didn't execute well enough. Just we're out there playing sloppy, making mistakes all over the field. Got beat. Now it's 2-1. Now you're tied with Pittsburgh and Cleveland, and only one game ahead of Cincinnati. And if you go in there with all those injuries and Deshaun Watson is playing like the previous Deshaun Watson, and you get another loss,
you're in trouble.
Then you're falling back to the pack.
Yeah. Shout out to Eric L.
Forward.
Yeah, shout out to Eric L over on Facebook, showing us love over there. Salute to you.
What's up, Eric?
Appreciate you as always, Eric, man. Big supporter of the show. Salute to Marco G for a donation. Says everybody is gangster until the Ravens injury report comes out. All right. That's a fact. That's a fact. And listen, you got 60 people in here. Hit that like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. If you're looking to get your comment highlighted right here or right over here, there we go. Right over there. The way to do that, this is how we do our super chat here. That pin link that you see in the chat box will take you to our Stream Elements page. Also, right below B, $LBHTShow. That is our Cash App. Both ways, you can leave a donation, leave your comment, and Microphone Man will raise his fist to salute you. Okay. And we'll read your comment on air. That's how you do that. Is OBJ back this week? I don't think so. I don't think he practiced today.
Yeah, I didn't see any news about him being back. Hopefully he's out there. They should have Rashad Bateman back, which will obviously help. But yeah, I don't know about Odell.
Yeah, and salute to Rogue Pod. He says, and don't forget we have Pittsburgh next week. We should not have lost this game. I agree. Thank you for the donation, Hendo. Appreciate that. Yeah, we can't take these games for granted, because winning that game puts us solely in number one in the division, right? And it gives us a little wiggle room to lose one of these games if it comes down to that. I'm gonna be honest, I'm less worried about Pittsburgh, but I am worried about the Browns, because they have the talent, right? Like, again, it really depends on Deshaun Watson. And listen, the Ravens defense is really good, right? Neutralizing Deshaun Watson without Nick Chubb is so much easier. It's so much easier, right? To take him out the game and force somebody else to step up. So I do feel good about that. But their defense against this O-line and this coaching staff could be another ugly game, Yeah. So how are we going to play this game? And again, it comes down to execution. That's really what it is. It's execution. We look at the O-line this past week versus the previous week. They didn't play as bad against the Bengals, right? They understood that this is a big game for them, and all hands need to be on deck, and they have to step up, and they did. This week they thought they could slack off, and the Colts defense is really good as well. Yeah, so why weren't they prepared to go out there and play them? I understand as a whole, you don't expect the team to be that good, especially without their starting quarterback, right? Especially with Gardner Minshew out there, who's a turnover machine, right? But man, like you have to show up still. Those guys can play, and that's where coaching comes in. That's where your head coach, your coaching staff needs to make sure that they're out there on the same page. And if you do take a loss like that, that's a teachable moment for them. That's where you're going into film study on Monday and saying, see, this is what happens when you don't take the game serious every week. You have losses like this. Now, let's turn it around. Let's do what we all know what we can do and go out there and whoop the Browns. So we'll see.
Yeah. If I'm Baltimore, I'm teaching 5 of my old linemen to hold every play. They're not going to call it. I'll write. Listen, he may not show up because he's a Brown, but I'll write Joe Thomas the biggest check imaginable to come in and teach them how he held every single play for his Hall of Fame career.
Yeah. What's up, RTV? Thanks for coming through. He thinks we're hit our stride around weeks 8 to 10. Yeah, but we should be doing it earlier. I understand. I understand everybody is with this new structure of the NFL, 17 weeks. only 3 weeks of the preseason. Teams are using the early part of the season to hit their stride, to, kind of ramp it up. But it shouldn't take 8 to 10 weeks, man. I agree with you. Round weeks 8 to 10 is probably where you'll see us at our best. It shouldn't take that long.
What's going on, Coach? And I just want to point out that it is September 27th. And so this is the last live stream of September. And Coach is currently sitting in number 1 in the loyalty points competition by a pretty solid margin, about 1,400. So if you do want to try and get into first place for the monthly prize, now is the time.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick, and we'll continue this Ravens talk. And I see you go. Salute to Garnett, man. Thanks for coming through. Yes, we got some tough defenses coming up here. So the offense, man, like you got to step up. I don't care who's out. You got to. Lamar's playing, right? Draw up some schemes. Block it up for him, right? Get the ball. Find some ways to get the ball off his hands quicker. Do what you got to do, right? I mean, we still got some talent out there. Like we should be able to win these games. I don't want to hear these excuses about injuries. Everybody has injuries, y'all. Everybody. But yes, the point system. As you see, Hendo looking up his points. That's how you look up your points. How many points you have on this channel? Exclamation point points, right? Type that in, and the Streamlabs bot will give you the answer. Hendo has 1,980 crew coins, I should say. All right. And how do you get points? By what you're doing right now, watching us, listening to us, participating in the chat. All those things get you points. Okay. Donating get you a lot of points. Going over to our website, LBHTShow.com, and signing up for our newsletter will get you 1,000 points. And if you're too far behind to catch Coach, which some of you are, that's fine.
Nobody is. They've all got credit cards.
Well, there you go. That is true. But look, you ain't got the money to donate like that. That's fine. Signing up for the newsletter will get you 1,000 points, easy peasy, and that's all you need to enter our drawing. Because every month we give away 2 prizes. One is a grand prize to the person with the most points, right? And we kind of let them choose their prizes right now, right?
Yeah.
We give you some options of what you want. Ferris got a bucket hat. Hendo got a video game, I believe.
Got God of War, yeah.
Yes, he got a video game. The second prize, which is a drawing, you get a $25 Amazon gift card. All right. So all you need is 1,000 points to enter that drawing. Okay. And it doesn't cost you a thing. Just participate, be a part of the community that we're building here. All right. Also sign up to Patreon, patreon.com/LBHTShow. If you have as little as $5, sign up. All right. That gets you points. All right. And that's the top. That's the top chart right there. Sip Tally Films is number 1. Jeremy Miller is number 2. Yolanda B 3. Will G 4. Dandy's 5. Ropox 6. Jay the 6 7. Marco G 8th. Malik B 9. It cut off at 9. Didn't show the 10. But there you go. That's how you do it. Okay. So yeah, thoughts on this game though. I think we should win. I think we should win. Coming off a loss like that, understanding this game has some urgency to it now. You don't want to be 2-2 with a loss in a division, right? It's not. I mean, look, it's not the worst, but not ideal.
No,
right?
Not at all.
And honestly, this is a team we should be able to beat. We should. Yes, defense is really good, but the X factor with Lamar Jackson, you have enough talent out there. Yes, the O-line is some issues there. You're gonna have to scheme around that. Zay Flowers is looking pretty good. Nelson Aguilar has looked good, right? You haven't got Rashad Bateman really going. You got to get him going. Is he going to play? I know he was.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said that, and some people in the chat said he didn't practice today, but they said he wasn't really injured so much as, he felt his hamstring tighten up, so they took him out of the game.
Because they were using him.
It was more precautionary than anything. I would expect him to play.
Yeah. Mark Andrews is back. Yeah. So, I mean, you have to win this game. You know, the defense, I don't have a lot to say, any real criticism of the defense. Through three weeks, I think they've done a really good job. And I think they're going to do another good job this week. You know, credit to them. The offense has to step up, and including Lamar. I know people don't like any criticism of Lamar. Lamar has it's tough. It's a balancing act. Somebody says he plays hero ball too much. He has to sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think last week in the first half, the offense just wasn't going anywhere. The play calling wasn't great. He wasn't being protected, and he felt like he had to take matters into his own hands, which he kind of did. But you still gotta be smart about it, right? I know it's not easy, but you have to be aware of those things. So those are the things that he has to work on to really put his team in the best position to win these games, because your coach ain't gonna do it.
Well, and I mean, we're going to talk about this a little bit towards the end of the show as well. But we had hoped coming into the season that it would be less on Lamar. They had Todd Monken, who was not Greg Roman, obviously. You got Odell Beckham, you got Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman was, hopefully going to be healthy. And the reality is the guys just haven't really been making plays. Like Zay's been, he's shown off his talent, but not a lot of big plays for Zay, right? Not much at all from Odell at this point. I mean, granted, he missed this last game. Not much at all from Rashad Bateman. J.K. Dobbins isn't there. Likely hasn't stepped up at all.
Right.
I'm going to say it again, at all. And, and through the first 3 weeks, it's been a lot of, man, we're relying on Lamar again.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, this can't be the case anymore. This can't. And if you need some talent out there, go and get the talent. Jonathan Taylor is still out there, right? They say they're asking for a first round pick. I don't think it's going to take a first round pick, to be honest. You can work out something else. Anything that's not a first round pick, give it up. I don't care if it's a second. I don't care if they ask for a second and third. We don't do anything with our picks, right? We don't do a good job drafting later. And yes, he's going to want money. You have to pay him. I understand the running back position has been devalued, but on a team like ours, we value the run game. And when our top 3 running backs are out, and we're afraid to hand the ball off to Melvin Gordon and Kenyon Drake, even though you picked them, right? Even though you picked them up, you're afraid to give them the ball. Go and get somebody that can handle those snaps. So make that trade. That's a trade that can get us some more talent on this team that can help get us over the hump. Hey, look who's here! Our friend Kimberly Harmon. Welcome
What's
back,
going on, Kimberly.
She said, "Hey, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, Kimberly. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Welcome back." So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I do think they get the win because there's a little bit more sense of urgency with this game, and these are the games where Harbaugh will step up, right? Because this is a game. Oh, people are watching this one. I gotta make sure I get this win. So I expect the Ravens to. I'm picking them. I'm picking them to win. We'll go over the score when we do the predictions. We'll do a score prediction. Who are you picking?
I'm gonna pick Baltimore. I'm very hesitant to do so because we just saw that O-line get dominated by the Colts front, and the Browns front may even be better. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I think Deshaun Watson is better than Gardner Minshew. Their receivers are better than the Colts receivers. Their tight end's better than the Colts tight end. So I am hesitant to do so, but we do know that when the threat is real or there's a real challenge coming up on the schedule, then the Ravens are more prepared to play.
Yes.
So I wouldn't expect them to have the same type of performance that they had this past week. And all things being equal, I'm almost always going to just side with Lamar the team that has Lamar. So I'm going to pick the Ravens.
Yeah. Speaking of Lamar, before we move on, look, I'm seeing a bad trend going on around here where, I mean, look, you guys know we're huge Lamar fans over here. I mean, that goes without saying. But when there's criticism of Lamar, man, don't be that person that wants to defend, mistakes that he clearly made. Okay. I think we're pretty fair when we criticize him. We're not going in on him. Same thing with Coach. When Coach breaks down tape and he says, hey, here's where he messed up, that's not saying anything negative about Lamar, like as a player overall. We're just criticizing the mistake he made. And every player makes those mistakes.
Yeah.
Every player, right? Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the galaxy. Okay. But you can watch some games from him and he don't look great. We all saw week 1 because you guys were in here just celebrating, popping champagne when they lost to the Lions, right? Oh, he looks human without, without targets. Haters.
From again, the biggest Lamar hater there is. Listen, Chris, and I'm being honest, man. Look, this is why I'm unfollowing. As soon as we get a break, I'm gonna hop on Twitter. I'm gonna hit that unfollow button.
I was following, but I'm unfollowing you now. Yes.
It can't always just be jokes, Chris. Okay.
But no, man, like everybody has bad games. He says no. Everybody has bad games. So don't take it to heart. I know there's some people out there that they go to the church of Lamar and they worship him, and you cannot speak his name in vain and all that stuff. But criticisms, small criticisms, fair criticisms, just agree. Say, he should have thrown the ball away there. He shouldn't have taken the sack. That's right. That's all we're really talking about. That's it. Nothing more. Move on. Right. You know who we keep our bullets for. Okay. We keep the clip loaded for that front office, for that head coach, because they're habitual line steppers. All right. They're always messing things up for us.
I like Kenyon Drake, man. I think
I do too.
He's been a good player, an underrated player throughout most of his career. But goddamn, bro, why? Why is Kenyon Drake on the field for the Baltimore Ravens in the year 2023?
Listen, that's not the part I'm mad about. Right? I get it. He played solid for us last year. He's familiar with the team. They're comfortable with him. I mean, I don't think that's a good practice to have, but I get it. He fumbled the ball. Okay, that's not a good look. But why'd you stop giving him the ball? That's what gets me mad. Right? He fumbled the ball. Oh, well. Like he had a big gain on that play too. Right? Like what he's capable of. Go and get or keep giving him the ball. Don't just go away from him all of a sudden because he fumbled the ball and you put the ball on the ground. You got to take you out the game. Well, you clearly didn't trust Melvin Gordon. That's why you went and got Kenyon Drake, right? So you got to gotta go with it.
I agree with you there, but it's a separate issue because Kenyon Drake shouldn't be on the team.
Yes,
and he shouldn't be on the field.
I agree.
But but this is they always look at and Ravens fans are guilty of this as well. They always look at the guys who are on the team and think that they're 10 times better than they are and that they're good enough. And most of the time they are not.
Yeah. Right. Look, he says Lamar's the best thing to happen to the Ravens in a long time. Yes, everyone has had bad games. Yeah, that's what we said. Like this is not an argument. Lamar's 47-17 and he's a winner. Nobody's arguing that. Jose, what are your thoughts on Ravens players' injury? Are you worried that we don't have our key starters? Injuries are always an issue with the team. They're always an issue with the team. We tend to have a few more injuries than most teams. So my worry is rushing people back before they're ready. Right. My worry is John Harbaugh continuing to lie to us about these injuries because didn't he say when Odell got hurt that, hey, his injury is manageable and he should just, if he does everything he needs to do, basically he won't miss any time. He'll be day to day, like, you know, or week to week. He won't, you know, he shouldn't miss any time. He can manage it, and he's just out. Right? Like he's just out. Like anytime this organization opens their mouth about a player, it's always the opposite of what they say.
Yeah.
You know, that bothers me. But injuries are part of the game, and they only worry me because I know this coaching staff in his front office is just not as prepared to deal with those things as other teams. They don't know how to develop players to fill in for when players are hurt. They don't know how to get, you know, they don't know how to scout the talent properly, right? Or get the right players for our system. You know, what is our system? I don't know.
Next man up is your system.
Yeah. So those, my bigger worries are what's going on with the coach and the GM. Those are the bigger worries. All right. DDSQ, what's going on? It says Browns D is legit. Need OBJ or Bait or both for Sunday. Yeah. We need our coordinator to draw up some plays. That's what
it starts with they need to be able to block. It doesn't matter what plays you're calling if you can't protect. Because he's not gonna have time to you're not gonna have time to let the plays develop. He's not gonna have time to find the open man. It doesn't matter. So they need those guys up front to actually block.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk some Panthers. I see Omar Tillman in here. He's ready for some Panthers talk. Let's go. B. Tough game last week. Okay. I know a lot of Panthers fans thought that Andy Dalton was going to be the spark that you needed. And there were times where maybe, right? But ultimately, Andy Dalton is exactly who you think he is. A backup.
Yeah, he's a good backup.
Yes.
He used to be a good starter.
Yes.
He's not that anymore. But you know, he's a very experienced guy. He's not a a turnover machine type of guy. He goes out there and he plays within himself and all that. They're just not good enough right now. Is all that there is to it. Yeah. Speaking of not blocking, I mentioned this on Steel Conspiracy yesterday. And I'll ask you too. I don't know if you didn't. I'm pretty sure you didn't get to see it since Wu-Tang and Nas and blah blah whatever. Pro Football Focus. We don't really go with their grades, particularly for linemen. But saw an interesting number from them because they do track other stats that are very helpful.
Yes.
So they put out their stats, and I saw it from the Panther Nation podcast. They posted the graphic on Twitter. Shout out to them, to Rashad and Dave. They changed the way they grade to a Madden scale. For it to be more friendly or
user
casual friendly. Yeah. So they grade 0 to 100, and just you talk about kind of average, adequate being in the 60s, and then once you get down to the low 60s and the 50s, bad, kind of, below average, getting into bad. Mm-hmm. What do you think Chandler de Zavala's grade was this past week versus the Seattle Seahawks?
I like Chandler Zavala, but probably not good.
No, throw a number out there for me. Y'all in the chat, you go ahead and throw a number out there too.
Did he have Chandler a good game Zavala or a bad game?
I'm not going to tell you.
So I haven't heard Chandler Zavala's name being called a lot. So I'm assuming he's been doing pretty solid. I've heard Ekwonu a whole lot. I'm going to say a solid 60.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you Ekwonu. Yeah, there's a reason you heard his name a lot. He had 4 false starts in the game. Not in the season, in the game. He had a couple of them back to back. Chandler Zavala, and I know my man Living Legend was in the chat yesterday. My man scored a 0.
He got it, yes.
He scored a 0, and they counted that he gave up 14 hurries in that game.
He said, look, if Ekwonu going to take a day off, I want a day off too.
No, I don't understand how you can get beat that many times in one game.
A 0?
A 0 and gave up 14 hurries.
So he didn't touch anybody on any snap.
Well, no. To be fair, Dalton did have 58 pass attempts. Okay, so he blocked his man on a solid 44 plays. All right,
you ever seen that meme or those videos where you had a security standing out on the field going like this, and people just walking by them? That was Chandler Zavala.
It was bad. It's bad. It's very bad. So with that in mind. Yeah, Bryce Young is trending. Yeah, I know. I don't know, Marco. I don't know. But they say Bryce Young is trending towards starting on Sunday against Minnesota. They do have Danielle Hunter, who is second in the league in sacks right now. So not good. But
he could have helped us out.
They're just
about us getting him.
They're Carolina's just in a place, and I don't know if you saw, but Cam Newton did an interview with, I believe it was KJ Wright. He's on his show. And he just said they just don't have enough around Bryce Young for him to be successful. It's just not enough right now. Even with Thielen and DJ Chark and Hurst and, Mingo and Martin, it's just not enough. And particularly, we all kind of thought that the O-line was going to be one of the better units in the league.
Yeah.
And that would have, made those guys maybe be enough. Right. If he has the time to stand back there in the pocket and be comfortable and find the receivers, let them get open and everything. But if you're not going to block and those are your receivers, it just doesn't work. Right. JC Horn is out with his hamstring injury. Still, they haven't really put a number on that yet in terms of the number of weeks he's going to miss. Shaq Thompson's out for the season. This past week, they lost Xavier Woods, one of their starting safeties, to a hamstring injury. He's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. And Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne are coming to town, along with TJ Hawkinson. So I think it's gonna be 0-4. That's how it's looking.
But the one equalizer they have is Kirk Cousins.
Look, I would agree with you, but they are in fact playing at 1 p.m., not in prime time. So Kirk is gonna dink and dunk his way to 400 yards, and it might be kind of ugly.
Yeah, man, but honestly, I got it wrong. Start the season, I thought the Panthers would be much better. I thought the O-line would be one of the better O-lines in the league, right? And I thought that they had enough talent on the offensive side, honestly, because I thought the defense would be better, right? If your defense isn't going to be better, if your O-line is going to give you, if somebody in your O-line is going to give you 0 and you're still going to play them, right? Then you better have better talent than DJ Chark and Adam Thielen and Hayden Hurst, right? That's it. That's enough when who was that? Marco G that gave us a donation?
Yes.
Appreciate it. I'm gonna read that in 1 second. If Ekwonu is going to give you 4 false starts, if Chandler Zavala is just going to stand there like this and not do anything else, right? If that's the type of, and that's and that's against that was with Andy Dalton in the game, which a lot of people will argue, hey, right now Andy Dalton's better. That's always a popular topic, right? That's always a good talking point. People say, hey, well, yes, so-and-so's the future. Right now, it's for you guys, it's Bryce Young. He's the future, but Andy Dalton's better right now. I heard people saying that, right? Which he's not. But even for Andy Dalton, actually the O-line played worse, right? But if that's the type of team that you have, then there has to be something to help balance that out. Because when he has to get rid of the ball quick, it can't be DJ Chark catching the ball, because there's not going to be any yak there. Definitely not with Adam Thielen. There's got to be something there. The running back, Miles Sanders, he's solid, but not the best. There's got to be something there that your young quarterback can lean on, to bail him out in those situations.
Yeah,
it's going to be a tough season, man. I don't want to see them go 0-4 because you guys don't have your pick. But look, man, it is what it is.
Well, look, and that's why after I saw the way they performed in week 1, that's why I looked at their schedule and said they could realistically start out 0-6.
They can.
I thought that Seattle was a chance for a win. And look, Andy Dalton, he had an okay game. He threw for 360 yards but it was on 58 attempts. It wasn't like he was just lighting them up out there. But I fully believe that Bryce Young would have had a really, a much, much better game than he had the first 2 weeks if he played. Seattle's defense just isn't good.
Yeah.
And that's what you saw with Andy Dalton. Like the receivers were open. He hit open guys. And whether you believe that Andy Dalton's a better player right now by a slim margin it's not really relevant. I mean, Bryce Young is the guy that you picked number one to be the franchise. He's the one you gave up DJ Moore and your future picks for, and he needs the reps.
Yes.
The only argument to sit him out is, hey, we can't protect him. And
and you don't want to admit that.
Well, no, I mean, at this point, look, they've given up. Looking at it here now, they've given up. Looks like 9 sacks so far this season, which is just one more than the Vikings have. And I mean, it's not good, obviously, but it's not the worst. Right. I mean, it's not a situation where I think, oh man, if Bryce Young goes out there, he's going to turn into David Carr. I don't think it's that kind of a scenario.
Right.
So he needs to be out there playing and he needs to get the reps. Andy Dalton does not. Andy Dalton's not going to win you games. And, so the best course is to have the young guy out there and let him improve.
Hey, repeat that part you cut out for a second.
I was saying the best course is to have the younger guy out there and let him improve by playing.
Yeah, I agree. Salute to Marco G for the donation. Says, do you think Panthers will make a trade before the deadline, and for what position? I think they should. I think they need. Listen, they're not Super Bowl contenders right now, but they need to make a move. What position? Well, let me see what B's shaking his head about first. What are you shaking your head about?
God damn it, Chris.
It says, poor Bryce. This shit is child abuse.
It's not even funny. It's not even funny. So whatever.
No, I think they need to make a move for somebody.
He's a fully grown man.
I think it needs to be for a wide receiver. I think Mike Evans is a good candidate. Right. I think T. Higgins is somebody they need to look at. Saquon, whoever, Josh Jacobs, they need to do something to get Kyle Pitts. They're not, Atlanta not using them.
How angry Hayden Hurst would be. Hayden Hurst would turn into a school shooter if Kyle Pitts showed up in Carolina to take his job again. But no, look, I'm fine with Miles Sanders. Like, Miles Sanders is a good running back.
Yeah.
He's a good, solid running back.
I'm saying a playmaker.
And they sure as hell paid him enough. Paid him more than any other running back in the league this free agency. But they need to go get T. Higgins. And this is one of those things where, and it is so dangerous to say this to Scott Fitterer, but you just need to make it happen. Right?
Yes,
because Scott Fitterer will make it happen, and you're going to be real mad about what he gives up to make it happen, and because he is not good at negotiating trades.
Listen,
you need to get it done.
Yeah, he has to study what the Rams do, man. You got to say, man, F them picks.
Yeah, you already did, right? Like, okay, you gave up next year's first round pick, which looks like it's going to be in the top 5, right? How they're playing right now. I mean, and that's being generous because right now it looks like it's going to be 1. But if you've already lost that, what do you care if you lose your second round pick to get a young number 1 receiver?
Listen, what do you care if you lose the following year's first round pick? Right? Look, man, you have to start taking notes from them. Like, hey, all right, we don't have our next 2 first round picks, but we'll be up in a couple years, right? Picks keep coming every year. You have your quarterback. That's the main thing. Now get some talent around him. If it takes a 2025 first round pick to get it done, then give up the pick. But yes, T. Higgins, I think, is somebody. Man, look. Here's what they need to do, right? Because you're not going to hear any names. Like these old linemen are never advertised out there. But the Ravens did it one year. Who was the tackle that we got from the Jaguars?
They went and got from the Jaguars. It was Eugene Monroe.
Eugene Monroe.
They went and got Bryant McKinney from the Vikings before that
Yes.
as well.
But Eugene Monroe, I always remember him. He was up and down, but when we got him, he was pretty solid in what we needed at the time. I always remember him because nobody knew he was available.
Yeah.
Right. Like nobody, like there was no reports that there was anything wrong. There wasn't, anything out there that suggested that he was available. And the Ravens called and they're like, "Yep, you can have him." Right. You have to make calls, man. And O-linemen are never going to be advertised, especially good ones. But there are some teams that are looking at the roster. They're saying, we're not going to pay this man coming up, right? We like him. He's good. We don't necessarily want to shop him because maybe in the offseason, there's not a market for him or we can work something out. But, if you call and say, hey, I got some nice picks for you right now, right here. I got second round, third round, or I got a 2025 first round pick that could entice them to give up a lineman. Right, you need to tackle bad.
Go call Lyle Collins. I mean, it doesn't.
It can't be worse.
It doesn't get worse than zero.
Pick up Lyle Collins.
It doesn't get worse than zero. But I'll tell you, the Panthers are showing, at least up to this point, that they don't understand how this works either, right? Because you went and you got the number one pick, you drafted your quarterback, he's your guy, right? And that starts the clock, and you are supposed to, for the next 5 years, spend irresponsibly to make that the best roster you possibly can around him. And they won't even pay Brian Burns.
Right.
A guy who they knew they were going to have to pay, who they turned down the trade to keep, knowing they were going to have to pay. They're like, well, we don't want to pay you, though. So I don't really expect them to give up a pick and pay T. Higgins, but it's absolutely the right move for a team like Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna have to, like you said, get it done. How are they gonna do it? I don't know how that manifests itself, but they have to figure it out. And this right here is what you get paid for. Yeah. These are the moments where you have to go and earn the millions of dollars that you're making when the answer isn't so obvious, and you have to do a little digging, and it's really not even that hard. Start calling people up.
I would make the Bengals GM file a harassment suit against me before I start asking about T. Higgins. Call him and make it happen.
I mean, there'd be 31 teams that'd be looking at their phone, be like, "Oh man."
Well, I tell you, I call Baltimore about Rashad Bateman.
Yes,
why not? Yeah. Y'all don't like Rashad,
and we love him around.
Called him out publicly, and then he called out the GM, called him a liar.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Get him out of there.
But multiple moves need to be made. It's not just one. Multiple moves need to be made, and they can make them. How aggressive do you want to be right now? That's the only question. But the answer should be very aggressive. They should be very aggressive. You should be highly motivated to not want to just play it out with what you have and just have a bad record. You should put together the best rosters possible. Get young players or younger players. And just be all in on winning.
Yeah, I mean, they're young enough, but they're not good enough. That's the thing.
Yeah. I'm saying you want good and young players.
Yeah.
Which is why, like you said, T. Higgins is the right move to make because he can play at a high level with Bryce Young for these 5 years, these first 5 years of his, Bryce Young's career, right? So that's somebody that he can have all throughout this process as he's growing. Mm-hmm. You want to get players like that.
Yeah. It would be pretty cool if they could and I know this guy just got here. I know they just drafted him in the third round of this previous draft, DJ Johnson. But if they could trade him maybe for that tight end out of Georgia, Darnell Washington and Nick Herbig, because those are the players the Steelers drafted with the picks that Carolina gave them. And they're both playing a hell of a lot more than DJ Johnson is because he's been a healthy scratch every week. Yeah.
So, all right. So I guess we're both picking the Vikings this week.
Yeah.
All right. We'll give our score predictions in our week 4 predictions. All right. This is going to be another ugly one to digest, but we'll break it down. Jeez, a zero. How you score 0?
By allowing 14 hurries.
That's a lot. That's a whole lot.
It's an incredible. That's a lot for a season. I mean, like you give up 14 hurries. I mean, it's not the most in the world, right? But it's not a good season if you give up 14 hurries.
It's not. It's not. All right. What's going on in the NFL? Our man, Colin Kaepernick, who has been blackballed from the league, or as Shannon Sharp would say, whiteballed from the league. He's still fighting, man. He's still fighting to get back in. He's monitoring all these situations around the league, and he says, "Ooh, I like what the Jets are serving up there." Well, you got what's his name, Zach Wilson, who, I mean, it pains their head coach to say this every week. Like, did you see him at the press conference? They're asking him about Zach Wilson. He's like, he's our starter for the foreseeable future. Oh man, he gets like you can see the vein popping out of his head, every time he has to mention.
Well, why is he the starter? Because he gives us the best chance right now on the roster.
I have full faith in Zach Wilson.
Oh Lord.
So Colin Kaepernick said, "Man, let me just send a little email his way, say, hey man, just let you know, thinking about you. I'm ready. I'm in shape, ready to go. Give me a look." Now, the answer is no, they're not going to pick him up. And I think this is embarrassing at this point that a team won't even kick the tires. I understand it's been a while, right? I understand it's been a while. But you see who some of these teams trot out there to play the position. Is it that crazy?
Well, I mean, the reality is at this point, he probably can't play anymore. I mean, he hasn't played a competitive football game in 7 years.
Yeah.
But he probably doesn't have it. I mean, I'm sure he looks fine in workouts and whatever, but he hasn't played a game since 2016.
Yeah.
But you signed Trevor Siemian, though. So,
right. That's the thing, right? That's the thing. Like, your options are literally not any better, right? Yeah. And you might say, well, they played relevant football more recently, but they suck.
Mm-hmm.
You know exactly what they're going to give you. You know exactly what Zach Wilson is going to give you when you go out there. Exactly what he's going to give you.
But at this point, Colin Kaepernick playing would look a lot like, if you remember when the Vikings signed Josh Freeman and started him that same week on a Monday Night Football game after he'd been out of the league, and he looked like he had never seen a football in his life.
Yeah.
So like if they were to sign Kaepernick, they would have, he would have to sit for, several weeks, multiple weeks before he even attempted to play. But it is what it is. We know why he's not on the team and why he's never going to be on the team again.
Yeah. They're not going to call him. No team's going to call him. And yes, at this point, yeah, it's. I don't think he has it anymore. Right, he's just been out the game for too long. But compared to the players that are getting opportunities, why not? And I agree with Mikey here. He says, why not give Cam a call? I know a lot of people think Cam is just washed up and he doesn't have anything left. He has more than Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cam seems like he's really settled into the retired life, though.
Yeah. Now, this is a good one here. Jada6 says, Carson Wentz out there practicing in his Commanders, Colts, Eagles attire. He has a talent. Like mm-hmm. that would definitely be the best option out there, right? Yeah. He's a starting caliber quarterback. But what does that tell you? What does that tell you about Carson Wentz? He's a terrible person.
And he has the talent, and he's the prototypical quarterback. And every team in the league is like, nah, son.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, Ray Ron said sign cap. Yeah, listen, we haven't. Teams are real hush about the problems they have with Carson Wentz, but a little has gotten out about Carson Wentz, and the little that's gotten out about him tells you, and just the fact that he's not signed right now tells you that it is really bad.
Yeah,
like the things that you think of when you think of players that are, problems in the locker room, team distractions, like the ones like that they try to paint that picture for, that is actually Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
it has to be, because if there was really, if it was, hey, okay, he had a couple of disagreements, whatever, but all in all, he was a good guy. He'll already be on a team. But the fact that he's still out there just chilling, and a team like the Jets, who are all in on the season, would rather go with Zach Wilson than to call Carson Wentz, that speaks volumes.
Yeah. Ernest Johnson says Cap got paid to go away. He will not play in this league again. That's not what he got paid for.
No.
And he wasn't going to play in the league again well before he got paid.
Right. That was a settlement for basically wrongful termination. He still wants to work. He's always made that clear.
Yeah,
right?
and they got paid so that the stuff that they have in their emails and their whatever documents wouldn't come out. That's why Cap got paid.
Yeah,
but they had already decided that he was never playing again.
Yeah, that was not. Yeah, that wasn't a situation where it's like, oh, okay, we're paying you so you don't try to play. Like, no, he's made that clear. He's always wanting to play. And listen, salute to him for keep fighting. There's a lot of Kaepernick detractors out there, and I think that's kind of silly. Like, what he did is what you should all be on his side with that, right? Peaceful, very silent protest, right? Something that didn't bother anybody until somebody asked what he was doing, and then it became an issue because he was doing it well before we realized what he was doing.
Yeah,
right.
And normally when you see people protesting, it's like, oh, well, why you have to disrupt people, people's daily lives and all this stuff. And he wasn't doing that. He didn't break any rules. He wasn't preventing you from watching the game. He wasn't protesting during a game, anything like that. But again, we know what it's about. It's
he wasn't even taking the knee.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody has suggested take a knee. It's more respectful.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, all right, I'll do that. And then that became too disrespectful.
And then that person turned on him too publicly.
Yeah.
The person who told him to do that, Nate Boyer.
Yeah. That's a
clown ass
piece of crap. Yeah. Hey, listen.
Anyway, so submit questions. We've got a couple questions. Jay, you are killing me, bro. Like every week while the show is going on, submitting a question.
Listen,
you
posted it late.
I did post it late, which is why I'm going to ask Jay's question. I didn't get the screenshot, so I don't have it uploaded here, but I'm going to ask it
before you ask.
But yeah,
before you ask it though, because look, submit questions. This is another way you can get points. All right, another way you can get points. If you're new here, first of all, hit that subscribe button if you're new. But if you don't know what's going on, you see people type in exclamation point points. That is because we do a point system here. All right. The person with the most points at the end of the month gets a prize. Also, if you get at least 1,000 points, you can enter our drawing at the end of every month, which will get you a $25 Amazon gift card. All right. So one of the ways to get points is by what you're doing right now, just watching the show. Mm-hmm. Also, participating in the chat, donating to the show. Okay. You got the Cash App right there underneath B, the pin link that you see in the chat box. Also sign up to our Patreon, patreon.com/LBHTShow. Go into our website, sign up for our newsletter, LBHTShow.com. All these ways get you points. This is another way, a free way. We got lots of, you don't have to spend any money on the show to get prizes. That's why
we would prefer that you did.
We would prefer that you support the show. Yes. But submitted questions, you submit a question to us. And if we read it on air, you get points. How do you submit questions? All the ways. Okay. We have a community post in YouTube where we say, hey, put your question here, but you don't have to just put it there. You can send us a DM anywhere, all of our social media right below me at LBHT Show. That is for everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It's at LBHT Show. Okay. And you can send us a DM or just tweet at us. You don't even have to send us a DM. Just add us, put hashtag submitted questions or whatever, and ask your question. And we can select it from there. You want to email us, LBHTShow@gmail.com, right? However you can get, if you see us in the street and say, hey, I got to submit a question, right? You can do that as well. All right. But there's all kinds of ways to submit your question. Submit them before the show.
Yeah, and I just want to ask, like, whose side are you on? Because even when I posted very early, he waits until the show is live to submit his question.
I stood back then. I didn't say anything. I supported you then.
So whatever.
But one time you didn't post it until the show started.
And I read his question then too. Okay. But like you just said, that's not the only way. That's not the only way to submit a question. So what are we doing here?
Kogan said, what? No LinkedIn? Just for you, Kogan. I'm gonna get a LinkedIn page started. And you better follow. I'm
disgusted right now. All right. Submit a question number 1. We got 2 questions tonight. One from our guy Jeremy Miller. I didn't even want to ask this or answer this question. Thoughts on Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift? Do you think their relationship is a distraction from the game, or does it help bring in new fans? I don't care, Jeremy. All right. I don't care about their relationship at all. I mean, look, I know the networks love showing Taylor Swift at the game, hoping that these Swifties will tune in. It's not a distraction from the game. I could not possibly care less about those two.
I always love the D word, distraction. How is it a distraction? Like, who's distracted? You think the players are distracted? Right? Are we distracted? Right? I don't. How's it a distraction? I mean, they're 2-time Super Bowl champions. He's defending Super Bowl champion. I think he can handle a distraction of dating somebody, right? I understand she's a megastar, right? I'm sure he's getting asked more questions and whatnot, but I think he can handle it. I had to ask the most ridiculous questions sometimes. I feel you. I appreciate it.
What did I tell you yesterday, Jeremy? I told you behave. 1 week, just behave.
Jeremy, I appreciate your questions. Keep submitting your questions, man. It doesn't matter. It's something to talk about. We're talking about it now.
For some people.
Yeah.
I'm only talking about it because of Jeremy. All right, question 2.
Chris said that was the question he was waiting for.
Ridiculous. Question 2 comes from our guy Omar Tillman. Should the Panthers sell off assets like Burns and Chin to get picks to put weapons around Bryce? I was all for them trading Brian Burns when they were offered a couple first-round picks off season. They decided they didn't want to do that, and they were going to keep him, have since not paid him. So I'm going to go ahead and say I was right on that one. But no, at this point, you've got him. You know, he's playing very well. Extend him. And you're just going to have to find other ways to put players around him. I mean, the draft isn't the only way, and money should not be an issue at all for Carolina over the next 5 years while Bryce Young is on that rookie deal. That's the whole thing, right? You get your quarterback on the rookie deal, and it frees up a lot of money for you to spend elsewhere. So go spend it.
I got a soft spot for Jeremy Chin because we were completely wrong on Jeremy Chin.
Not completely.
Yeah, we're completely wrong.
Not completely. I say he couldn't cover. He can't cover.
He's not horrible in coverage.
He can't cover. And not only can he not cover, he's not even the playmaker he was in his rookie year. He hasn't been that.
Well, stay tuned. I think he's gonna have a very good season.
He may get back to that, and I hope.
But we didn't think he was gonna be anything. We didn't think he was gonna be anything. He's really good. He's good.
Yeah,
he's good. I really like Jimmy Chin. But the answer is depends on what you can get.
Yeah,
it depends on what you can get. I like Brian Burns a lot. I like Jeremy Chin a lot. I think they're much better than what they've shown, last year and going into this year. Yes, I would like for you guys to keep them. But if you can use them to get some help on that offensive side of the ball, then you do it. Because what's our motto here? Hashtag defund the defense. All right. If it has to be one or the other, and it doesn't have to be, but if you're telling yourself it has to be, if we're spending money on defense, we can't spend on the offense, then you spend money on the offense first. You invested a lot to get Bryce Young. Mm-hmm. You have to go all the way. Okay. You can't half step on this. You have to go all the way in on him. And if you have to give up assets from the defensive side, to make sure everything's right on the offensive side, you do that because you can rebuild the defense. That's once you got your quarterback, it's not hard to put money on that side, and draft guys and develop that side of the ball. But protect your quarterback and get him some weapons. Those are the first priorities.
All right, we got a question from Jay as well. Since I said a few minutes ago that I would read it, I already regret that, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna read it anyway. Even though he's using his question to be a hater, like there was a slam dunk question about the Lakers that he could have asked, but he didn't ask that. He went, will Lamar's fumble streak continue? I don't know, Jay. Are they going to continue to let him get hit from the blind side right after he catches the snap?
Yeah.
If
yes.
Then yes.
Yes, I think he's going to have a fumble. I don't think he's going to lose it. He doesn't lose that many, right? But yes, they're not going to protect him. Jason Garrett is going to get at least 2 sacks on him, right? At least 2. Yeah, he's going to fumble the ball. Be ready for that. It is what it is. I can live with that.
Wow.
What we reading? MDT?
Yeah.
MDT says, Jeremy Miller, are you distraction? Kaepernick fight for black people getting killed by hands. That's why he took his knee. I guess that's a bad attraction.
Oh, I see.
Huh?
I was wondering what Jeremy said.
What did Jeremy say?
What Jeremy said.
Does Kaepernick actually care about playing, or is this for attention? No, I think he cares about playing.
Of course he cares about playing. This was the career that he had prepared for his entire life that got stolen from him in the middle of his prime. Why wouldn't he care about playing?
NET Sports, why are you getting so mad at Jeremy?
There are so many players there's so many quarterbacks in the league who will never be as good as Colin Kaepernick was. And I'm not even saying he was a great quarterback, but there's a whole bunch of guys in the league who aren't close to how good Colin Kaepernick was. And he can't even get assigned to a practice squad.
Right. Look, I think what Jeremy asked is a fair question. And guys, like Jeremy's he's not hating, right? He's not hating. He's just asking questions. But I think it is a fair question to ask. I think the answer, I don't think he's doing it for attention, but you have a lot of famous people tying their names to Colin Kaepernick, right? He has a Netflix special, right? He's had Nike commercials, right? So you could wonder like, is all this stuff for clout? Because look, you have a lot of people that do things under false pretenses, right? Mm-hmm. In the name of justice or social justice, and really they're just out there to enrich themselves. So it's good to be skeptical, right? And look into these things, look into these people, right? But no, with Colin Kaepernick's situation, I don't think it's for attention. I think he always wanted to play football, right?
And with those people, typically you're not sacrificing anything.
Right.
And Kaepernick has.
Yeah.
Shug has asked me to check my DMs for another question. I saw the question already, Shug. I told you couldn't ask any questions because it's ridiculously late in the show for you to ask questions. But after I saw the question, I'm going to go ahead and ask it. This one is for you, Jose. Shug would like to know your favorite Taylor Swift song. Take it away.
The only one that I know the name of offhand is Shake It Off.
God damn it. I knew you were going to go like 8 years ago.
Yes.
You know what my favorite Taylor
I should know more because my daughter is a Swiftie.
Yeah, and that's why I know the song that I'm about to say. And I've never heard this song, but Ronin because she made me name my ship in Starfield Ronin. Yes. And I'm thinking Wandering Samurai. And after I named it, and I was like, man, that was a great name, she started giggling. And she's like, ha, 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 that's a Taylor Swift song. That's why I hate children. So we're going to go ahead. That's all of these submitted questions for the week. And because I have pre-scheduled the questions post for the next 5 weeks. So it's going to be up Thursday morning, 9 a.m. So Jay has no excuses.
We also have to do on social media is post there too, like, hey, get your questions in. So we'll be a little bit more diligent. Is that the word? Diligent in that? proactive in that. So yes. So submit your questions for next week. You can start that right now. All right. Thank you to everybody that submitted questions.
Right now. Tomorrow at 9 a.m.
You can start. No, we're done with the submitted questions section, right? With the segment. Yeah. So any questions I submitted now will be for next week. You can start submitting them right now.
You can't start right now. Post going up at 9. Y'all are gonna be on me about this post every week. Yeah, you post your goddamn questions. Right,
hold on, let me get set up here because I gotta get my backgrounds right here.
Next up, Damian Lillard has been traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, and I remember us talking about this before when Damian went on one of his 18 previous trade demands that weren't real. And we talked about Milwaukee being a prime destination for him and that they should have done whatever it takes to get him in there because he does the things that Giannis can't do at the end of the game because Giannis can't shoot. He's a great player, great defender. He's a very good offensive player. Like he can get to the basket almost at will. And I know that he's trying to improve the shot, but it's just not happening for him. And they really struggle. They were having to go to Chris Middleton, to close as their closer in games. And Chris Middleton's a good player, even a very good player. And at times he's been that guy for them, right? But there's also other times where he's completely disappeared in that role because he's not a superstar. But now they have one of the best closers in basketball in Damian Lillard. And they were able to acquire him while holding on to Chris Middleton. So now you have Damien Lillard, who is one of the best closers in the league, and you've still got that other guy who has been that on a championship team before, and he's just going to take a step down into the number 3 role, which should make him even more dangerous.
So. Yeah, look, it's a good move. But man, I have mixed feelings about it because of Damian Lillard, man. Like he just talks so much, right? Like he wanted to do it. He wanted to do it the hard way, just win with the Blazers. He didn't want to join up any other team. He made some comments recently about joining the Warriors. Like, I expect everything they do. This is and that, but I don't want to win it that way. But now you're playing with Giannis, right? Is that way better? Like is that more acceptable?
I think they all grow up and realize it. Every single player who's ever won an NBA championship has had help, and so there's nothing noble about sitting on a bad team with no good teammates and losing.
No, not at all.
It is. So yes, it is better.
Yeah. Here's the trade details.
Yes.
Okay. So the Bucks get Damian Lillard. Blazers get Drew Holiday, who apparently he said just yesterday or the day before that he is a Bucks for life. So
that sucks for Drew, man.
It does suck. DeAndre Ayton. Oh, they finally got rid of Ayton. Oh, okay. I see. Suns are winning. We got Tumani Kamara, 2029 first round draft pick, and 2 pick swaps. Okay, Blazers really made out here. Suns receive Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, Keon Johnson. How you feel about this, B?
I think it is an incredible win for the Milwaukee Bucks. I think it makes them the favorites for the title next year.
I agree.
So I think that's a slam dunk. You don't want to lose a player like Drew Holiday, obviously. He's been a great player for them. He's been instrumental in their success. But Damian Lillard's a better player. So they upgraded that spot. And, I'm looking, that's really all they gave up. They didn't give up anything else.
They didn't do the picks?
Not really. I think the picks are theirs, but I'm talking about, they're in their window to win. They don't care about them picks. No. I'm talking about pieces of the team. All they gave up was Drew Holiday, really. And they got a better point guard out of it. So, this is a slam dunk for Milwaukee. For Phoenix, bit of a mixed bag. I think
they got rid of DeAndre Ayton. I think that was their main thing.
But the thing is, don't get rid of DeAndre Ayton. Just coach him up and learn how to use him. Like, yeah, okay, he's not the guy that you thought he was going to be, the guy you were hoping that you were going to get when you drafted him, but he's not useless.
No.
And if you hated him that much, you shouldn't have paid him. But that's going to leave a hole in their lineup, obviously. And they didn't have a bench, but they got some guys for the bench now. Nurkic, he'll come in and he'll take that Aiden role. The guys that they got outside of that, I mean, not anything special. But they're guys to add to the bench. Grayson Allen, I think, is a net negative. So I'm gonna give the Suns like a C- on that one. I don't think it's great for the Suns. Yeah. For the Blazers, getting DeAndre Ayton, I don't know anything about Kamara, but they got the picks and they're shopping Drew Holiday, so they're going to get more. So I think it's a win for the Blazers. They've got Scoot Henderson, they've got Anthony Simons, and they can properly start their rebuild at this point. So I think it's a win for them as well. Depending, obviously it depends on what they get for Drew Holiday as well. But I mean, you're never going to get value for a superstar in a trade. But I think they did pretty well here.
Yeah, I think all around, everybody won to a certain extent. The only losers here are the Heat. Because what was it that they were asking for from the Heat that they didn't want to do the deal? Do you remember?
So it was going to be Tyler Herro, and I think they asked for. Oh man, I can't remember, but it was another player who they did not want to give up. I can't remember which one it was. Which player it was.
The point is, because that they missed out on KD and Damian Lillard, right? And I understand sometimes you might think, well, hey, you're not going to get a better offer, and you can look at this trade and say, whatever they offered them. I'm not sure what exactly what they offered, but whatever we offered pretty much is in line with that. It matched that, right? That's not going to make you sleep better at night because you don't have Damian Lillard. You have to do what you have to do to get Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
Right? You were just in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Damian Lillard would have helped you there. You have to do what you have to do to get the player that you need, right? Tyler Herro can't hold up the deal.
Well, he wasn't the one that was holding up the deal. They were very willing to move Tyler Herro. It was somebody else.
Bam Adebayo? Was it Bam Adebayo?
I don't think it was him. I'm looking at the roster now. I'm trying to remember who it was they were talking about.
Coach said Herro's off limits for Damian Lillard?
Not according to Miami.
Yeah, they can't. Tyler Herro can't be what blocks the trade. You gotta ship him off. Tyler Herro's not going to win you a championship.
Yeah, I can't. At the time, I want to say Caleb Martin, but
that's what Jeremy thinks it is. Caleb Martin.
If that's who it was,
he can go too.
It was somebody who should not have held up the trade. That's who it was.
So I'm with you though, B. It was Tim Hardaway. Yeah, I'm with you. The Bucks had to be looked at as a favorite because they didn't really deplete their bench. They didn't.
They just swapped Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard.
Yeah,
that's a win.
I hate it, but it is what it is, man. I don't hate it that much. I like Giannis, but that doesn't help the Nets anymore. So
right, well, the Nets could have got in there, but they chose not to.
And I think that was smart for the Nets. I think that was smart. So congrats to them, man. And they're easily the favorites coming out the East. Yeah. And the Blazers, look, they're hitting the reset button. They got Scoot Henderson. We'll see what kind of player he turns into. If he turns into a really good player, they're right back in it. Anything else to add to that?
Yes. Give me 1 second.
Coach said Dame's not built the Heat way.
That's what losers tell themselves when they lose out. You sound like a Knicks fan right now. Oh, he wouldn't have survived in New York. All right. Okay. I don't. Did that not go through?
What?
I just put up the tip from KP. Did it not come up?
Oh no, it did not go through.
Let me try this again. 1 second. Let me see if it goes through.
Okay. Jeremy Miller says he blames this on Pat Riley.
There it is.
There we go. Salute, KP. Thanks for the donation. Says I think it was
Jovic, and I wanted to say that as well, but I don't remember him being part of the rumors. But they're very high, and you know he had a pretty decent playoffs for them, young guy, and they're expecting great things. But I don't remember him being part of the rumored packages. But it might have been him. It might have been.
But my thing is this. All right, coach, you don't want to give up those guys. You cool with running it back with who you have to try and make another championship run, or do you think you need more? Right? Like that's what it comes down to in the end. What you have on your team, I don't think is enough. Obviously, like, look, they can make it to the finals. They just showed you they can make it to the finals. But do you think with a healthy Hero, you know, and Caleb Martin, all those pieces, they can make another run and win it? Because you're already in the finals. Can you win it, or do you need more? And if you need more, what's the answer, right? Like, I think Damien Lillard was the most talented player available for you. I just don't think, man, the guys that you had to give up were worth, you know, not doing the deal over.
Yeah, because look, the answer is they obviously need more. They made it to the finals through a pretty soft East, and it showed in the final. You know, it showed that they weren't really on that level. Just like the last time they made the finals, right? They need more, and they're unwilling or unable to get more.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
All right, because we had an hour and a half. Let's do Combat Corner.
Yes.
But before we start, I wanted to direct your attention to right below B. Okay, Patreon.com/LBHTShow. Thank you to all the people, all the patrons that we have so far, man. Guys are really doing a great job supporting us. We appreciate it. If you are new to the channel, first, welcome, and hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. If you're looking for ways to support us, you know, you guys give donations, really appreciate that. Buying our merch also helps. You can go to lbhtshow.com/shop and check out our selections over there. But if you want to support on a monthly basis, we give a lot of perks to our patrons. B, can you just real quick tell them some of the things that they can get for signing up to Patreon?
Yeah, for our $5 tier, you get into our NFL Pick'em League, where we give away a custom LBHT trophy to the winner at the end of the season. If you join the $10 tier, you get our LBHT Crew coin. You get into our fantasy football leagues. We have a dynasty league going on where we give away a custom championship belt, and we have a redraft league going on as well. You know, if there's enough interest, that's just trophy. Another dynasty league, and then we also have the $20 tier, which is a combined tier for this show and our boxing podcast, Ring Kings podcast. We have the $60 tier as well, which is for creators who, you know, people who are just starting out on YouTube or interested in starting out on YouTube, and we kind of provide some consultation and guidance to help you to avoid some of the common pitfalls just starting out.
Yeah. So, like I always tell people, you know, look, the overtime show, that's worth the price of admission, and sign up to our Discord. And once you're in, man, you're in. You know, we don't kick anybody out unless, you know, you give us reason to. Right. It's a great community over there. You guys are very active in the chat. We don't get to read all your comments in the chat, but you sign up to our Discord, man. That thing's going 24/7, you know, so you can keep that conversation going over there well after the show. But I mentioned the overtime show. What are we discussing tonight? More Coach Prime. Coach Prime is a hot topic, man. And his team just got, you know, they got crushed by the Oregon Ducks, which kind of expected, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. Now, anytime Coach Prime's Colorado team takes the field, there's going to be some controversy one way or another. He's a hot topic. And this week, it's, hey, they got destroyed. Oregon coach talking a little trash. Was it warranted? Should they run up the score? Did they deserve it? All that stuff. We're going to discuss all that on the show. And I'm going to give you my experience at the Wu-Tang and Nas concert. I was there with the OTR crew, OTR Mike, OTR Brandon, OTR Quan. We had a great time, and we're going to discuss that and anything else that comes to mind. So if you want to be a part of that, patreon.com/LBHTShow is how you do it. All right. Combat Corner time. We got a big fight this weekend, B.
Yes. One of the biggest of the year. One of the biggest in boxing, with Canelo Alvarez going up against Charlo. Not Jamal, not the 160-pounder, the 154 undisputed champion. And I believe this is going to be the first undisputed versus undisputed fight in boxing history. He's moving up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo, who's undisputed at 168. If you don't know what undisputed means, there's 4 major belts. Unified means you have 2 or 3. If you have all 4, you're the undisputed champ. Yeah. So both of them have all 4 belts in their respective weight classes, and they're going at it this Saturday. We're going to be streaming after the event on Ring Kings podcast. It's a very, very interesting fight because Jermell Charlo is in his prime. He's a great boxer, great technical boxer. He is able to, and he can withstand pressure fighters, right? Which is what Canelo's been doing, right? Mm-hmm. Recently you saw him fighting Brian Castano in their rematch, and Castano was trying to follow him around the ring, trying to bully him, trap him up against the ropes and in the corner, and just kind of, lay into him a bit. And Charlo just kind of led him around the ring by his nose all night long. And I mean, he put a pretty good beating on him. It was a great performance. But again, you're talking about now Canelo, who is at 168 and has fought at 175 recently as well. Yeah. So he's a much bigger, much stronger guy than Castano or Charlo. And the question is going to be, is he going to be able to withstand the pressure from Canelo? Is he going to be able to stand up to Canelo's punch for 12 rounds? Because that's what Canelo's been doing for his last 4 or 5 fights, just kind of walking guys down, not worrying too much about the defense. And I imagine he won't worry too much about it against Charlo either. I don't think that Charlo will really be able to hurt him. So he's going to try and just walk through those punches and just beat on him until he gives out. He tried to do it with Dimitri Bivol, but Bivol is bigger and stronger than him, and all on Bivol's arms and shoulders, and didn't really have much effect. And so the question is going to be, do they have an effect on Charlo? Do they make him drop his guard? And if he does drop his guard and get caught at any point, is he going to be able to stand up to that power?
Yeah, that's the question, right? Man, I just think too many fights you've seen Canelo just too stiff, right? He doesn't move around well anymore. He probably in decline, right? Mm-hmm. And Charlo moves around really well, right? He's not a guy that's going to stand there in front of you, and I think he moves better than Bivol. Bivol moves around really well, especially for a light heavyweight. Jesus, but I think it's going to be tough, man. If he doesn't have the footwork to keep up with Charlo can just outbox him. Because I told you my concern and Mikey's concern, OTR Mike's concern with Canelo, and we all like Canelo, mm-hmm. But my concern with Canelo started back. I started seeing it in the Billy Joe Saunders fight, but it really concerned me in the Caleb Plant fight, because me and Mikey had Caleb Plant up in that fight. And we're like, man, he's just getting outboxed and he's not doing anything about it. But Caleb Plant famously is known for, gassing out in the later rounds.
Yes. Charlo's something fierce, man. Like, good Lord. Because he was beating David Benavidez, too.
Yes.
And David Benavidez says, that's cool. 6th round coming up. Yeah. And like clockwork, when they hit that 6th round, Caleb was like, yo, we got how many rounds left, yo? Like, what?
That's not going to happen to Charlo. Charlo's not going to gas out.
No,
right.
No, he's not.
So that's going to be the thing. So you're going to have to really try to wear him down early on. Maybe we don't know, right? Because he's moved up 2 weight classes. This is out of his element a little bit. I don't know how he's going to look there. And Charlo's not perfect. He's taken a loss before, Sort of, yeah. It was an off night. I don't think he's going to have that off night again. But this is uncharted territory for him. But I'm giving the edge to Charlo right now.
Yeah, look, in boxing, the power is the kind of the sexy thing, the attractive thing. That's what gets people watching. People love to see knockouts. They love to see the big hits. But typically, you take the skill over the power every time.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not sure that's going to hold up here. I mean, because Canelo is a skilled fighter. I don't want to sound like like we're saying he's some brawler or whatever. But
we haven't seen that from him for
a while. And he has always been very committed to body punching. And recently, it seems like he's kind of said whatever to that too, a little bit. And I think that if he comes in and really learns his lesson from the Bivol fight. And I mean, he can even still just try and walk Charlo down. But if he goes to the body consistently early on, and even if he's not landing clean shots, as long as he's touching Charlo, he can wear him down. I think, honestly, I think the weight's going to be too much. I think the size is going to be too much for Charlo. I'm going to take Canelo in a decision. I think it'll be a close decision. Because I think Charlo will outbox him for a good portion of the fight, but I think he'll get worn down, and Canelo will bank some of those late rounds. And we all know that when Canelo fights, you have to convince 2 of the 3 judges because one of them is in the tank for Canelo already.
that is true. Yeah.
At least one. In the Bivol fight, it was like all 3 of them.
Man, the most consistent thing out of Canelo's career is those judges.
Yeah.
That even in a loss, there's some controversy there. It's going to be a good fight, though. I think it goes decision one way or another. I'm picking Charlo. You're picking Canelo, but we both expected to go the distance. So, what's going on, Killer? Says, hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. How you doing, man?
Sí.
All right, this is perfect timing. Okay, that was a nice, solid segment. Almost took away from background. Okay, look, we got trivia time, and we're getting out of here. All right, if I'll tell you what, bonus time.
We have trivia time and the predictions.
Oh, we need to do predictions. All right, this has got to be rapid fire because we have 18 minutes before we got because we hashtag no 2 hours.
All right, so we're gonna do trivia time real quick right now.
Here's what we'll do. Throw out the question.
Yeah.
Then we'll do the picks, and then we'll come back.
Or that much time to Google.
Okay. Quick. All right. Quick trivia. Let's go.
And it is an issue too because look, this past weekend, the Ravens went out there and Lamar Jackson, he had a decent game. He made some mistakes, right? But he also, he was pretty accurate for the most part in the pass game, and he ran, 14 times for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He led the team in rushing. Like we talked about earlier, we came into this season hoping and kind of assuming that they would use him less in the run game because now you got Odell, you got Aguilar, you've got Zay Flowers, you got Rashad Bateman back, you got Todd Monken, who can actually design a passing offense unlike Greg Roman. So far, that has not been the case. So far, he's still been running. Yeah. So the trivia question is this is maybe a 2-parter. We'll see how I'm feeling after part 1. But who is the all-time leader in carries for quarterbacks in NFL history?
Oh, who is the all-time leader for carries?
Yeah, for their career, not a season, not a game, but for their career, the all-time leader in carries.
Who has the most carries in their career? I mean, the one that comes to mind is Michael Vick, or McNabb. But I feel like it's somebody we're not really thinking.
Jay, Vince Young played a year and a half, bro. No, it is not Vince Young.
Mr. Galloway, what's going on?
What's up, Mr. Galloway?
Oh, another person part of our crew, man. You got to make sure you subscribe to Mr. Galloway as well.
And we have 3 answers already.
Okay, all right. That's
the answer. The correct answer is right here. Let me scroll down to the graphic because I do have a graphic. Cam Newton with 1,118 carries. Now, the reason that I went with this question is I want you to look at the rest of that list there. You got Wilson, you got Vic, you got Cunningham, you got John Elway, and then you got Lamar Jackson, right? Lamar Jackson has 759 carries. But if you look at these games played for all the rest of these quarterbacks, I mean, he only has 73.
Right.
And so he's just about halfway to Cam Newton's career games played and well over halfway in the number of carries. So he's going to blow by all these guys. Assuming he doesn't have a career-ending injury, he's going to be the leader in QB carries going away.
Carries, yards, touchdowns, everything.
Yeah, but I'm focusing on carries because he runs the ball more than anybody. Well, actually, not more than anybody. The second part to this question, I'll go ahead and go with the second part.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson averages over 10 carries a game for his career. Okay, which is absurd. Absolutely absurd. He averages 10.4 carries per game. Where does that place him on the all-time list? It would be unfair to ask who is ahead of him, but where does that place him on the all-time list? What number?
2. I'm gonna say 2.
You gonna say 2? Okay.
10 carries a game.
Yep, just over 10. And while they are thinking about that, let me add these points real quick.
Who gets the points?
Raven Ron came in first. Hendo, I believe, was second. And then Just Allo got it as well.
All right. Now, I want to remind people because 2 weeks in a row, I see people dipping now around the trivia time. You've hung out this long on the show just to leave before you can get some easy points. Trivia, if you top 3 and getting the answers right, you get points. Okay, an easy way to get points, and points lead to prizes. All right, so stick around. Is the answer posted?
I can't see the chat right now. I'm adding the points still. Give me 1 second.
We have Jay says 6. Will G says 2nd. Malik B says 3rd. Just Allo says 2nd. MET Sports says 3rd. Hot Boy Rod, what's going on, man? Says 4th. Jeremy Miller says 5th.
Okay, so we do have some correct answers in there. Since it's a bonus, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off now and show you that he is actually 3rd all time in terms of carries per game. Now, notice that the 2 above him and the 3 below him don't have pictures. I didn't look up the 3 right below him, but the 2 above him, Tuffy Lehmans and Bill Shepard.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess that this is before the Ford Pass was
their careers ended in the 1940s, the early 1940s. One of them 1940, the other 1943.
When was the Ford Pass invented? I'm gonna go ahead and guess this is before that.
And this just goes to the point here. The point here is that, goddamn, what are you doing to your franchise quarterback? Stop. You wonder why everybody keeps on with that Lamar's a running back thing, and saying, "Oh, Lamarb," which is always really ridiculous. Like it doesn't even work in print, but it's stupid. But it's just the fact that you continually run him more than anyone else.
So we leave it with the truth.
and it goes to show I'm just going to say the incompetence and the laziness of the people running the Ravens organization. You have a quarterback who is, arguably one of the most talented we've ever seen to play that position, in total. And you're content to sit back and say, you know what? I know that more hits is going to mean he misses games. I know that more hits means he's probably going to deteriorate physically faster. I know that more hits means he's probably going to have a shorter career than he otherwise would. But go ahead and run him.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely ridiculous. And again, what you're seeing now is it wasn't like it's the way that Greg Roman runs his offense, but that's not the reason it was happening. He was picked for that reason. The reason it's happening is John Harbaugh, and that's the way he wants to run it. And he looks at Lamar and says, "Hey, we can run him 10 times a game, and then we don't need wide receivers. We don't necessarily need to keep up the old. We definitely don't need to spend at running back." And he can kind of, cover up for those deficiencies. And all that's going to happen is Lamar is going to get broken down over time, and you're not going to have him for nearly as long as you should. And that should be infuriating the Ravens fans, and they should be looking for John Harbaugh to be out.
Yeah, and that's exactly why me and B 100% support Lamar and him holding out this offseason. We're with just about everything that he did. The only thing that I didn't agree was I would have taken it further. I would have said, no, I said Odell and DeAndre Hopkins. You need to get both. And you need to fire Harbaugh. I don't want to play with him anymore. I would have pushed for them to fire Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Right. I know he's not going to do that. I mean, I'm sure they have a good relationship, and he probably believes that he can win with Harbaugh. But Harbaugh he's trying to fast track him out the league.
Yeah.
He's got to go. Harbaugh is a problem for this team. We are winning in spite of him. All right, let's make this quick. Rapid fire time.
All right, let me make sure I get these points out.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up. Listen, this is really gonna be rapid fire. We have less than 9 minutes before we gotta get out of here, because if you don't know, this is hashtag no 2 hours. Okay, we gotta be done before 2 hours hits. All right, and then we're gonna start the overtime show. If you want to keep hanging out with us, go over to patreon.com/LBHTShow. All right. And if you want to join us in these picks, type fast. Okay. Type fast. B.
Just before we start this, real quick, MDT Sports says they treat him like Cam Newton with a bunch of angry faces. And I don't like your tone, MDT. Like, Cam was supremely talented as well. And yes, they treat him like Cam Newton in that they're running him a lot, but you have another connotation with the way you wrote that, and I don't appreciate it. All right,
he's very defensive.
I don't appreciate
it. He's saying they mistreat him. That's all they're saying.
Yeah. All right,
B, let's go.
All right, Detroit at Green Bay. It had looked like Christian Watson was going to be playing. He said that's the plan, but right now he's still questionable. I believe Aaron Jones as well, but Jared Goff still sucks. And I'm going to take Green Bay at home on a Thursday.
Oh, I'm going on Detroit.
Atlanta at Jacksonville. Jacksonville caught a beat down from CJ Stroud. They're not going to get one from Desmond Ridder.
I agree.
Taking the Jaguars.
Same. Jacksonville.
Miami at Buffalo in what's probably the game of the week. Miami's not going to drop 70 again, but Buffalo is not going to nearly shut out their opponent again. I'm taking Miami on the road to win. And I think it'll be a shootout, but I think it'll be a fairly or relatively comfortable win for Miami.
Comfortable
in that, like, they're not in real danger of losing the game. Not like it's going to be a 20-point game, but like, they'll maintain a two score lead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Buffalo will get within 1 and they'll score to make it 2 again. So they're never in danger of going down.
Okay. Well, I got Buffalo.
Nope. Denver at Chicago. 2 0-3 teams. 2 teams that made me feel good about Carolina's chances of winning games. I don't think Denver's recovered from that 50-point beatdown. I'm taking Chicago to get their first win.
I'm taking Chicago too. I mean, I think both teams quit on their coach, but more so Denver.
Yeah. Baltimore at Cleveland. We talked about this one. I'm going to take Baltimore in a very close game. I saw Raven Ron earlier put in 2017 as his score, and I'm gonna agree with Ron on that one. I'm going to take him with that 3-point win.
What's the score?
2017.
2017. Yeah, it's going to be something similar to that. I'm going to say Ravens. I'm going to say 24-17.
Next up, we got Cincinnati at Tennessee. Cincinnati got their first win of the season. Joe Burrow still looked like garbage, but I think that he continually improves every week. And Tennessee sucks. Tennessee's not going to derail that train. I'm taking Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm going Cincinnati.
The LA Rams at the Colts. This one is going to depend on who they have at quarterback. I don't know if Anthony Richardson is going to be back. If he is, I'm taking the Colts. If he's not, I'm taking LA over Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, I got the Rams.
Next up, we've got Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Battle of the frauds. I'm taking the New Orleans Saints, whether they're quarterbacked by Derek Carr or Jameis Winston, because Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield.
Ooh. Yeah, I got the Saints.
Next up, we've got Washington at Philadelphia. Sam Howell does not have another 4-interception game in him. I said yesterday on Steel Conspiracy that I think that two things are true. Washington will bounce back from that loss, and Philadelphia still wins.
Yep, I agree. It's going to be a more competitive game, but Philly's going to win.
Minnesota, Carolina, taking Minnesota. So.
What's the score?
Taking Minnesota. Minnesota has a certain number of points, and Carolina has fewer than that.
I think it's going to be it's going to be like a 30-21 type of score, where
that's all the time we have, folks. Pittsburgh at Houston.
Let's go. You go.
Houston put up 37 last week, but they are a very, very young team. They got a rookie quarterback, rookie weapons, rookie head coach, rookie terrorizer on defense, and Will Anderson. I don't think they're going to be consistent week to week. I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this one.
Okay. I got Houston.
The Las Vegas Raiders at the LA Chargers. Can't pick the Raiders. Not for anything. Not under Josh McDaniels. Taking the Chargers.
Got the Chargers.
Next up, we've got New England at Dallas. To the best of my knowledge, they're still starting Mac Jones over there, so I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Man, Cowboys. I got the Cowboys.
Arizona at San Francisco. Arizona, they pulled off their miracle win. Not happening 2 weeks in a row. Taking the San Francisco 49ers.
Yep, I got the 49ers.
Kansas City at the New York Jets. Similar to Arizona, similar to the Las Vegas Raiders, similar to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I will not pick Zach Wilson to win. Kansas City on the road.
Yep, Kansas City.
Monday night. This is a tough one here. Seattle at New York. Both marginally talented teams, I would say. But I'm going to go with Geno and the Seahawks, even though they're on the road. I'm taking the quarterback.
Yeah, same here. I got the Seahawks. And you mentioned Dallas earlier. Just two streams in a row. Our guy Warbone has come up missing. It's
so strange, man.
He was so active just last week.
It really was. Like, not just watching, like he was commenting. Like, I mean, his rate, my dude types fast.
He does.
He's got a high words per minute. They had Mavis Beacon in his school. Now it's just he's not here.
Yeah, that's weird. Like one early loss put you like that. Jeez, man. I don't know what's gonna look like at the end of the season.
He was really angry when I jokingly picked the Cardinals. They ain't beating the Cowboys, and now And you know what's worse is that Dak threw the interception in the end zone to seal it. It's all right. Yeah, he's gonna bounce back.
Come back, Warbo. We have fun over here. Ain't that serious, man? Relax. All right, we gotta wrap up because we got a minute in counting. Okay.
Oh Lord.
Yes, let's get out of here.
Oh.
Listen.
Bye, y'all.
Patreon.com/LBHTShow. Overtime is starting right now. Everybody else, thank you very much. Have a great night, and we will see you next time. Peace.